In this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of Jamboard. Jamboard is it's part of the Google suite. It's basically an interactive dry erase board. So I'm going to show you how to access it both from your Google account through a browser and from the app. So first of all, I'm in my Google Drive already. I'm signed into my account. If I click on my waffle and go through, eventually I'm going to see this icon with the circle and kind of the two squares. That's my Jamboard icon. So if I go there, you can see the address is jamboard.google.com, and it'll take me to the interface where I can get to my boards. You can see I have one board here. I could go down to the corner, and I could go ahead and make a new one if I wanted to. So here's my new blank board. When I'm in here, to show you a few things, tools I have is I have a pen tool. If I click down, you can see there's different types of pens. There's a marker, there's a highlighter, there's a brush, there's an eraser. You can also clear the entire board. There's colors, which will impact the colors for these different tools here. There's my select tool, and then there's a tool to add a sticky note. Like anything else Google, it's shareable. So I could go through and share it with specific people if I wanted to. I could name it, and you can see here I can add frames. So kind of think of a frame as a slide. So let's say this is number 1. I could go and I could add another one, number 2. So I have 2 basically dry erase board slides or spaces. So I'm going to go back out to the beginning. I'm going to click here to show you some of the options I have. I can rename these slides. I can download them as a PDF, or in this case, I can remove it to completely get rid of it. I'm going to hop into a sample, a test jam to kind of show you some of the options. So you can see here, I have some text I pulled in from a website. There I have some sticky notes, some images, a hand-drawn image, kind of a scribble arrow, and a link to some documents. Now, as cool as Jamboard is for the web, it doesn't even compare to what you can do with the app. The app has so much more you can do. So I'm gonna hop over here. Here's my my iPad, and I'm gonna hop into the Jamboard app. Okay, so I'm going to click on my options in the top and show you I'm already logged into the app, so you have to have an active account to be in and use it to sync all your items. But you can see right here's my test jam, so it's syncing between my web and my app, so anything I do in one place is going to show up in the other. The other thing I want to point out, it says here connect to Jamboard. The software is designed to be dry erase whiteboard software for an actual physical device, a whiteboard that Google produces, kind of like their own smart board. But you don't have to have the board to actually use the software, which is cool. So I'm going to jump into my sample test jam and show you some of the differences with this interface. So again, you can see how I have my scribble and my same sticky notes and so forth. I'm going to hop to my next slide just to kind of show you the same type of thing. Then I'm going to click on the arrow again and bring up a blank slide to show you some of the interfaces I can do. So as I mentioned, I have all the pen tools, but you can see I have some additional pen tools. So besides doing my normal pen and kind of my calligraphy pen and my highlighter and my paintbrush, I have these additional tools. So the A with a plus will recognize your handwriting. So if I type in hello, it should turn it then into text. One of the things I'm going to point out is it also does cursive. We'll see what that turns into. There you go. So it'll do it either way, which is kind of cool. The other option you have down here is You have shape recognition. So if I was to try to draw a triangle, it'll pop it into a triangle shape, or any other shape I can think of. You can see it will kind of solidify it. The last option it has in that list is auto draw. So auto draw is a whole separate kind of interface in Google, but what it does is it lets you start to draw items, and then it recognizes or tries to recognize what it means. So in this case, I'm trying to draw a truck, and by those simple items, you can see it draws in that truck for me. So the eraser is just what I said it does. You know, it erases part of your screen, or you can clear the entire board. The colors, well, you pick the colors for your item. So if I have a, if I do my pen here and click the blue, we'll draw in blue instead. My selection tool lets me pick part of my screen, which I could then move. You notice at the bottom you have that kind of the pop-up trash can. If I see that, it lets me drag items to it to delete it. As another part of the selection tool, you have this kind of odd scribble. What that scribble lets you do is lets you kind of insert in items within your text. I have a sticky note. I can select my colors here. Any of these items I can take, I can move, I can take two-finger pinch to make larger or smaller, or twist. If I click the plus, I have more items. One option I have is to embed in documents from my Google Drive. So let's say I put in this list of lottery members. I could select that and add it in if I wanted to. I actually did that on my first slide if I back up. So for example, I have a slideshow and a test document. In either case, I'm on this tool. I'll select go back to my selection tool. Here we go. Pick my selection tool. So once I have these documents in, I can take them and actually pull out parts of them. So if I wanted this entire note in here, I could add it. Or this slideshow, if I wanted this slide on my dry erase board, I could take it and then pinch it and move it just like anything else. And again, I just went to my Google Drive, found something, added it like that, and then with my selection tool, I can relocate it, and if I wanted to, I could pull out parts of it. Or in this case, I can drag it to the trash. So if I click on the plus, there's a whole bunch of other stuff too that wasn't in my my web version. So let me go back to my, let's bring up a whole new blank slide. So I have an option to search the internet. You can see I've done a couple searches already. If I do a search, what it does is it brings up, you know, web pages with information. So let's say I'm doing some research. I went to this page here. You can see there's an option to cut, and I could take part of this web page. Let's say I only want to get to, let's say I only want to get the title for some reason, okay? So I put this box around what I want to cut and enter, and it drops it right onto my page. Plus, it's an easy way when you're working in here to do some quick research. The one below it with the magnifying glass is the same thing, except instead of looking for research, it gives you photos. So I could go in here, and let's say I will grab this image. Like anything else, I can then resize it and move it. Below that, you have these kind of stickies. It's pretty limited, but I got to think that over time it's going to increase the options you have. So you could add that in. Um, Again, your notes, where you can add things to think about. And my camera would take anything from my camera roll, or I could click on my camera icon and take photos with the built-in camera and add it right into my presentation or into my dry erase board. So this is just another way that teachers or students can organize their thoughts. Because it's collaborative, you can have more than one student work on it. There's ways to add slides. I showed you by clicking on the arrows here. You can also organize slides. So if I wanted to click, I could take this slide and I could drag it into a different location. If I wanted it in a different order. You can see if I hold on to it, there's also an option to duplicate a slide. So I could kind of like set up a template and have people add things to it. Or I could take a slide and by dragging it down, I could delete it. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of Jamboard. Hoping people can find some good uses for it for teaching or for student learning.